Chris, since 2020, William Nylander has played 33 playoff games. He's scored 16 goals. That leads the Leafs, 3 more than Austin Matthews in that stretch. What stood out about his latest star turn in the postseason?
Well, for one, it was overdue with him not having scored since March 26 prior to the 2 goals in this game, so you did feel it building. But also just what a cool cat he is. I mean, he does love and relish these moments. We've seen him score big goals. Even last year, the night the Leafs were eliminated, he scored a goal late in that game to send it to overtime. You know, he says afterwards to the reporters, he's like, Game 7, I don't think we've won one of those, have we? Like, he's just so nonchalant about it. Of course, this is the guy that was there. Tampa 2022, Montreal 2021, the 2 in Boston prior to that. Nylander was parts of those teams, and I think as you look ahead to the next game, if anyone's going to come up big in that game, I would put Nylander at the top of the list when you look at the Leafs players. And look, he even finished a hit in this game, a big one. You know, the Leafs have really sacrificed to get this series to a Game 7, and they needed a game breaker. Nylander was that in Game 6.
They have defended tremendously well in these last 2 games, but Joseph Woll has also been there to make the saves they needed him to. What has stood out about what this young goaltender is doing?
The future is now, right? I mean, this is the Leafs goaltender of the future. He's the goaltender of the present. He's, been a huge reason why they were able to force this to a Game 7. And I think the key is Jeremy Swayman has been so good for the Bruins, even in their defeats. But Joseph Woll has been equal to him. He's been up to the task. And only allowing 2 goals in these 7 periods. I mean, even go back to Game 4. He's put in for the 3rd. It's a lost game for the Leafs. Austin Matthews goes out injured at that point. The bickering on the bench and everything. Doesn't allow a goal in that game. I think he's really, found his stride kind of remarkably, I would say, just with the way the second half went. He missed time with that high ankle sprain. Never really got in a groove. But, after kind of out of nowhere, it was a Hail Mary pass they put out by putting him in the net. He's taken the ball and run with it, and he's got a chance now to lead the Leafs into the second round.
The crowd tonight was excellent. They were hopping, but you could feel the tension in this building. It was so close for so long. A lot of pressure in Game 7. Which team is facing the most pressure?
It's Boston. I mean, look, there's significant things at stake on both sides here. There's jobs at stakes, arguably, on both sides. But with the way this has played out for the Bruins, the fact they blew a 3-1 series lead to Florida last year, they lost Game 7 in that series inside TD Garden. It's going to be tense in there. And it's a loud building. It's a great building to play a game. It's a building where the Leafs have had 3 seasons end in a Game 7 dating back to 2013. But I just think with the way this series has played out, there's a lot of pressure on the Bruins. Remember, Austin Matthews still not in the Leafs lineup. It doesn't sound like at this point in time that we should expect to see him in Game 7. So the Leafs, look, there's huge consequences for them if they don't win the game. But I feel like the pressure really has shifted to the Bruins side. And you usually want to have a Game 7 on home ice. That's kind of the unofficial rule out there. This might be a weird one for Boston, just with the way it's played out, the tone of the questions, and how tight their group feels.
Yeah, I asked Tyler Bertuzzi, the ex-Bruin, if he could sense any frustration now in his former teammate Brad Marchand. He said, I think everyone over there is getting frustrated.